How was WrestleMania? Because this was your first win at WrestleMania, wasn't it, this
Yeah,
year when you
right.
won the tag titles?
So
And
that's
happening
what's
at the Performance Center, it's kind of full
yeah.
circle, right? Well, that's where you started, more or less.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I remember the first day the Performance Center even opened. Well, not even opened. The first day we were allowed there, because I started in NXT back in Tampa when it was FCW, and so I lived in Tampa first, trained at FCW, and I remember we all had to tear down the ring, drive moving trucks to Orlando to help build the ring there. And I remember the first day we saw the Performance Center, it was empty because we had everything to bring in there. And I remember thinking, like, this place is going to be pretty cool. And then, obviously I've had a bad luck of every WrestleMania that I've been a champion and I've lost my title. And, it was nice to actually win a title for the first time at WrestleMania. And it happened to be at the place where it all started, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a full circle moment, which was awesome. Um, obviously we didn't have 80,000 people reacting to it, but it was definitely special because it was definitely a full circle moment.
And it's a compliment as well, isn't it? You see quite often that if you're not going on last, it's best to be on first, right? And so a real compliment in what were insane circumstances that they were willing to go with you and Nikki and the Kabuki Warriors and say, right, set this 2-day extravaganza off.
Yeah, and that was fun too, because like this is technically the second WrestleMania I've opened,
Mm.
because I hosted last WrestleMania and that was nerve wracking. I went out there and it's different wrestling in front of 80,000 people and it's different speaking in front of 80,000 people. When I first started in WWE, we had promo classes and I could not stand up and talk in front of 10 people. Like when I was in school and when I was in college, I was always sitting in the back row. If we had to do public speaking, I just wouldn't go. I just wouldn't do it. I'd just be like, oh yeah, I can't do it today. And just whatever. My first promo class, I cried because I was so nervous about speaking in front of people. And, you know, being the host of WrestleMania, walking out and having 80 plus thousand people just staring at you because you're the one that's going to start WrestleMania was very nerve wracking, but it was so much fun. And it's different wrestling because no matter how big the crowd is, the ring is the same size.
Mm.
So the ring becomes your comfort zone and you're like, okay, cool. This is familiar to me. And yeah, it was different, but it was a lot of fun and I liked that it was at the Performance Center. I like that I was able to, kick it off. That's a lot of trust that the company gave us. And it was a lot of fun. I loved the match with the Kabuki Warriors. It was a lot of fun. I love having matches with them because they're so entertaining. Kyrie always, I'm a big character person. I love having character moments, and Kyrie loves doing character moments too. So it was a lot of fun.
All your WrestleMania moments have kind of been significant or displayed quite a lot of trust. Because I mean, your first WrestleMania was 33, wasn't it? And I think there was the hashtag, give SmackDown women a chance, wasn't there? Which meant you,
Believe so, yeah.
yeah, which
And I went in
meant,
as SmackDown Women's Champion.
yeah, which must have been on its own right a sort of bucket list moment. Then the next year, you had a long singles match with your best mate.
Yeah.
And then that finish, I was watching it earlier, and the finish with the Samoan drop off the top. So you got that sort of noise from the crowd that I guess
Yeah.
that's what you're all seeking as a superstar, isn't it?
Yeah, that's funny. That's the funny thing too is that, we do what we do in the ring based on crowd reaction. So we only know if something is going well based on crowd reaction. And that's why, a lot of my matches, I know I get a lot of backlash for not doing a lot of like wrestling moves and a lot of, suplexes and a stunner. But, I try to create character moments because I always say you're not going to see me do a bunch of moves that may not make you feel anything, but I guarantee in every one of my matches, there's going to be a moment that makes you feel something, whether it's happy, sad, angry, whatever. There's going to be a moment that you're going to remember. It's because I've made you feel something. And that's kind of how I base all of my matches. And yeah, and I remember the WrestleMania with Nia, it was a lot of fun because, we're best friends. We've had this storyline that we weren't even supposed to be friends on WWE TV. We had pitched a storyline where we were like, oh, we could be friends, and like it just didn't go through. So then but while we were having matches against each other and standing next to each other in the ring, we couldn't help but just banter back and forth because we were best friends, you know? And so we'd have these funny moments. And then the writers were like, oh, you guys are like actually friends. We're like, yeah, we've been telling you this all along. Like, we'd be walking around backstage and I'd be on her back. She's giving me piggyback rides, you know? And like, we're actually best friends. And so to have that moment with Nia, and I remember my mom recording her brothers because my mom knew that Nia was going to get the title right before, because I told my mom to record the reaction because Nia's brothers didn't know. And it was a surprise for them. And so, and this was like only a couple hours before the match. And I was like, make sure you record the reaction. And she has a video of her brothers watching her do the Samoan drop, 1, 2, 3, and they're jumping up and down and they shoulder check each other and they're just so excited. And it was just awesome to like have that WrestleMania moment, one for myself with my best friend, and two, because I had a long title reign, it was time to, you know, let my best friend have her moment. And the fact that I was able to be a part of that was just awesome.
Yeah, I think as a pair of best friends, to have one walk down with the title and the entrance you had as well, the big stage entrance coming down from what seemed like, you know, basically the ceiling, even though there wasn't a ceiling.
Yeah.
It coming down like that with the title, then to basically give your mate that honor, and then she walks out with it. You must have been backstage, kind of beside yourselves, weren't you?
It was a lot of fun. It was really cool, and you know, it was definitely one of my favorite matches that I've ever had because we did put so much into it with the storyline. And there hasn't really been a storyline since then that was that thought out, that not thought out, but not that built up, because we pitched this story because we had both dealt with body issues, you know, and we knew that it was like a real thing that people deal with. And so we pitched this whole storyline. And, you know, the horrible things I said about Nia, we sat down and talked about that before. She was like, I need you to say this about me. I need you to say this about me. I need you to say this about me, because we knew that it would draw real emotions. And we needed to tell that story of, hey, this is a real issue. And it shows when she beat me at WrestleMania, it shows the bullies never win, the good guys prevail if you stand up for yourself, kind of a thing. And, you know, and there's even comments that we had talked about that she wanted me to say. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable saying that. So it was such an invested storyline because we invested so much realism into it. And we invested so much real feelings and real moments that had happened to both of us in there. And the fact that the payoff of this story that we had built for almost a year was at WrestleMania. It was just awesome.